Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending, and Willie's been really gracious hosting me. Hi, Willie.
Hi, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's hot here in California. It's kind of warm. It's summer finally. So thank you. I mean, I can't believe that Top Gun like Willie is hosting me. That's just amazing. That's the best day of my life, so to speak. I'm
Oh,
not joking. I mean, it's really great because Willie's been my go-to person for a lot of questions I had when I was learning how to do internet marketing, and it's been my role model always. So thank you,
thank you.
Willie.
Thank you. And
Yeah,
we're on the hour, but I'd like to wait another minute or two since people are still
yeah,
trickling in slowly, um,
yeah,
that
yeah,
always happens. But
yeah.
it, I'm here in Florida where it's in the mid 80s for highs. And
Yeah, it's well, it's usually in California. It's kind of strange. In the morning, it's foggy, and it's like, oh, you're in Paris. And then somehow in the afternoon, we're transported to muggy Florida, where it's 100% humidity, and we are hot and muggy, really hot. And after this webinar, guess what I have to do? I have to go outside and water all the plants.
wow.
So I am looking forward to a long webinar so I can stay out of the sun.
Well,
It's cool.
and the sun's already
Okay.
going down here though, so it'll
Yeah,
be
I know.
cool
It's 8 o'clock
shortly.
for you. 8
Yes.
o'clock. Yeah.
Well, no,
Yeah,
I'm
you have the...
Florida's got two time zones, so I'm in the central time zone.
Oh,
Anything,
you are?
yeah, anything from the coastline, from the East Coast to Tallahassee is Eastern, and then west of
Yeah.
Tallahassee is Central. Um,
I see. I didn't know that. Okay.
Even
Um,
though that people are trickling in still slowly, why don't we
yeah,
go ahead and
let's
get started?
go.
I know a lot of people are looking forward to the recording anyway, and
Yeah.
hopefully more will
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Okay.
join late.
I'm going to close the question box and all that,
Okay,
and I'm going to go into presentation mode.
okay.
Here we are. I'm using new technology, so I apologize ahead of time if this doesn't work. I hope it does, but if it doesn't, then we learn something.
Yes,
This is a Google Docs presentation. It's really nearly as capable as PowerPoint. It's amazing.
and I've never used
So
it.
no, okay. So I'm Joe Finn, and I think Willie watched one of my previous webinars
Yes.
where I trained another marketers group, and you wanted to have me come and teach your students. So that's what we're doing. Who am I? Like really quickly, because I have a ton of stuff to cover. So Willie, do you hear this buzz?
Do I hear a buzz?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. So um, who am I? I'm a marketer since about 2009. In 2010, I started doing SEO for clients, and I probably have the longest running Warrior Forum special offer that out of anybody. I have a Warrior Forum special offer since January 2010, and it is still selling quite well. It's pretty amazing that the Warrior Forum is still around and in its current incarnation. I've been doing SEO for clients before that. I was in a full-time job doing development on two of the three big search engines, on Yahoo and on Google. And so I know search engines from the inside as well as from the client perspective. So a lot of people are, shall we say, a little bit confused about what SEO is, and they have very narrow views of SEO. That's why I always like to start with this picture. Can everyone see the picture of the elephant?
Yes.
Willie, you're
Yes, we can
saying
see it.
yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. So some people just feel the ear and they say it's a fan. Some people feel the tail and it's a rope and so on. And the truth is it's neither of those. It's an elephant. It's a very complicated thing. Most people just don't see the big picture, and as a result, when they propose something, they're proposing point solutions. So for example, if you do X, Y, Z, then you'll rank. So for example, if you just make guest posts, then you will rank. If you make links from link directories, you'll rank, and so on. So those point solutions work for a while, and then they're getting penalized. So it's not a long-term strategy, and it always gets you slapped. Now Google has been slapping people around for a long time, and really nothing that you do to rank higher is safe because you're manipulating the search engines. And by the way, Willie, if people have questions, could you interrupt me at any point and
Yes, I'll do that.
just give me the question, and if it's appropriate to answer at that point, then I'll answer it. Otherwise, I'll remember it for when we get to that point. Okay, so here are some SEO quote-unquote solutions that have been proposed in the past, and they're now known not to work or even damage your ranking. First of all, people used to make made-for-AdSense sites, which used to rank really well with Google. All you have to do is to repeat the keyword many, many times on the page, and you would rank, and they would rake in the money from AdSense with that.
Yes, I had a friend who was making $70,000 a month from AdSense.
Yes, exactly, and that
yes.
all disappeared. That all disappeared overnight.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, and I'm sure that person is much smarter nowadays, and he's probably doing what I'm going to be telling you to do, because those people didn't just give up and go home when their AdSense farms went away. And then there were link farms, blog farms, public blog networks, link directories, RSS and syndication. RSS and syndication curation in its current form doesn't work anymore. Link schemes, one-way, two-way, three-way, and so on. Any kind of link trading doesn't work anymore. Link wheels, who remembers all the nice software to create the link wheels and rank in Google? Well, Google got smart to that. And if you can manipulate Google that way, it will eventually get you and penalize you. And there were at least 1,000 more schemes that got varying degrees of notoriety. Some became famous and successful, some were kept a secret and only used by the insiders, so to speak. Is there a way for me to fix this color scheme thing?
I'm not sure what's causing the pop-up, but
anyway, it doesn't matter.
No.
So anyway, so all of these things worked at one point, and they don't work anymore. So obviously the question to ask is, what still works? What can you do today that still works? And what should you avoid? Well, that's easy. You just have to search the Warrior Forum for SEO offerings from 2 years back, and you'll know what to avoid. But what does work today? And unfortunately, in my opinion, that's the wrong question. Instead, you want to ask how to create a strong position that will survive all these updates, will overcome all of the changes that Google is making, and live through all of the inevitable updates to the Google algorithm. And you need to have a plan B. Uh, it's really been proven, and I'll show an example in a couple of slides about how even when you're doing the right thing all the time, you're still being penalized. You still get penalized. And not small fish like you and me. I don't know. I mean, I have one site that maybe gets 100 visitors per day, but the example I'm going to show you is very recent of a site that has traffic valued at $20–30 million a day, and they got penalized in the latest update, even though they didn't do any SEO. They did not do anything. So the SEO landscape is kind of like welcome to you know, to hell. It's very hot in here. It's very hot in here, and there are constant earthquakes. This is the weather report for the search engine. Mozcast measures. This is the site called Mozcast. It measures the quote-unquote temperature of the algorithm in the last N days. This is, if you go to mozcast.com, you'll see the graph today. The 98 centigrade here that I'm pointing at with my mouse is from May 19, when Panda.
Is that temperature
Panda,
showing, you know, how difficult the search engines are?
That's the temperature that shows how much change there is in the top ranking.
Okay.
Basically, if the number of changes in the top ranking grows, that temperature goes up. And obviously the temperature is somewhat random because there are always changes in the search engine ranking. What they do is they measure it over like 100,000 keywords. So they do a search of 100,000 keywords per day, and for each keyword they compare it to the average ranking for the top 10 sites in the last week or so. And if there is a lot of change from that average, then the temperature is up. So the average when there's nothing happening is between 40 and 50, like in these days. When there is an algorithm change, it can go up to 100, and sometimes I've seen it above 100 to 110, which means that there are several different things that happen during that day. If you go now, you're going to get one set of results, and if you go like 2 hours later, then you'll get a totally different set of URLs that are ranking in the top 10.
Okay.
So what that means is that there is more than 100% change in this search engine ranking page, or short SERP, SERP. So this was Panda 4.0, so-called, and even today the temperature is a little bit higher than usual, so I expect that they're going to do an update during the weekend. This is 80 as opposed to the average of 45.
Okay.
Right, so are there any questions on this?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay, so can you escape this? You know, can you avoid these changes? And the answer is, if you have a website, you cannot escape it, because you will eventually get slapped. No matter what you do, the truth is that your website will get slapped if you do SEO, if you don't do SEO, and not by a little bit. Look at this one, and you can the person that guesses this site will win a free month of my service. Okay, if you can guess this who this site is, then you get a month free in my offer at the end of the webinar, at the end of the training. Sorry. So as you can see, like in October 2012, they got severely penalized. They had a serious drop of about, instead of 3,000 pages being visible, 3 million pages being visible, they had only 2 million pages. And now, not today, this was like in May 19, they went from 4.5 million to 2 million again. So
we
who
had
knows what website
several
this
people
is?
guess eBay, and we had
Yes, that's true. That's true. So you pick a winner.
Well, the first one to answer was Gary B.
Okay, good. So yeah, so this happened to eBay, so eBay doesn't do SEO. eBay has its own traffic, and the reason why they got caught in this change is because their website just matched the things that Google was looking for in the to reduce in the ranking. You know, what they did was they have a lot of images that occur elsewhere on the web. They have a lot of text on their pages that occurs somewhere else on the web. So they were incorrectly caught as a site that did a lot of curation and did a lot of non-original content. And as a result, they got penalized. So this is an example. And that didn't happen, 2 years ago. It happened less than 3 weeks ago. In the meantime, I believe that they recovered their position fully. But it just means that everyone can get caught, everyone. The conclusion is that Google, Google gives and Google takes. If you rank today, your rank is not assured tomorrow. Even if you're a good guy, your rank is not assured tomorrow. Even if you do everything right and you have good pages and you have no black hat anything, you still get zapped. So the key question I take away from that is why even listen to Google? Because they're telling you, okay, we want you to do this or we want you to do that, and then they turn around and penalize sites. Obviously, if you're a big fish like eBay, you can appeal and you can get this fixed. But if you are, if you're a small webmaster, then you're out of luck. And you can appeal, of course, you can still appeal and you will get some recourse, but for eBay it's virtually assured that you'll get your position back. For you it's a complete guess game whether you will ever get your position back. Any questions still here?
No questions at this point.
Okay, so this is a picture of Peter Sellers' movie, How I Learned to Love the Bomb, Dr. Strangelove.
Yes.
So instead of worrying, really just learn to love the bomb and ride it and swing, so to speak, swing with the punches. There's no way to avoid the changes. If you want to get traffic from Google, you just have to swing with the changes. So how much change is there? Well, the picture you're seeing is on the left is all of 2011. So there were quite a few changes. And this is all of the major changes that happened during 2012. So no one can keep up with that. And this is just insane, the amount of changes that they make. And lest you believe that they're done making changes, this is the weather report summarized per month. So in December 2013, the average temperature, the average algo weather temperature was 102. Okay? What that means is that you look at the search engine result page now, you see one set of URLs, and if you come back an hour later, you might see a totally different set of results. It was so crazy at that time that it was basically just a wait-and-see month because no one knew where they were ranking from 1 minute to the next.
And
And of course,
I
yeah, go
was
ahead.
going to interject. One of our listeners did say that what's causing the next time you get that pop-up on your screen, to click the bottom button, the bottom option, and that'll make
Excellent.
okay.
That'll go it away. They'll make it go away. Thank you
Yeah,
very
I
much.
didn't know what was causing.
Thank you. I still don't know what's causing it, but that's a great solution. Thank you, whoever suggested that. And Willie, make sure that the person who won the guess will contact me.
Okay.
You have my email, right? So you can tell him
Yes.
my email.
I'll do
Okay, good. So for the first 5 months of 2014, the average weather has been pretty nice, 60s. Even though in May we had a relatively minor update called Panda 4, and let's see what else we have. 1 second. So does this mean that you just go and spam Google? This funny commercial that I found on the web that serves up spam. At least in those days, spam meant something positive. Now it's a 4-letter word. And does this mean that we just go out and spam and rank for 5 minutes or an hour or a day or 5 weeks, and we know that we're going to get penalized? Or do we do something else? And my answer is no, we don't want to spam. Instead, okay, so keep the current color scheme and don't show this message again. Thank you. Okay, so in my answer is that we don't spam. We may use techniques that are frowned upon, that are called black hat, and I actually have a lot to say about that in a future slide, but we want to build a really strong foundation that will survive most of the changes, and sometimes, we're just observers from the outside. In my case, I think I know a little bit more than the average SEO on the structure of the search engine, and I'll show a little bit of the view from inside. So I know more or less what's going on, but I know that I have had clients that I thought were strongly positioned and they still suffered penalties. If any SEO tells you, no, my stuff is safe and the Google loves me and don't worry, you need to run in the opposite direction, especially holding your hand to your wallet, because they're after your money with lies, and you need to be very, very careful in what you do, and you need to choose who you listen to. Any WSO warrior special offer that says white hat links or Google approved links or anything like that, don't buy that. That's an automatic no-no, because what they're doing is they're proposing a point solution. They're proposing something that works now and that will not work tomorrow. Even I have this problem. It's something that is completely unavoidable because things change. As an example, I was going to show Willie. You remember that the title was different for the presentation before I talked to you.
Yes.
Because there was a site that I could rank in 3 minutes on Google, and you've seen that in the other presentation.
Yes.
And now that doesn't work anymore, so I didn't want to show it. Now it's really
It's hit and miss now.
It's hit and miss now. So, and it used to be a sure thing to rank on page 1 within 5 minutes, and now it doesn't work anymore. So things change, and you need to be careful and spread your bets. We're going to see exactly how I do that, and you need to have a plan for. You need to have a plan for getting penalized. The most important thing is to avoid getting attention from Google. Because if you get the attention, they have a process called manual review. Manual review is where your site goes through a review by a human. And if the human decides that your website is an affiliate site, you're going to get what's called a manual penalty. Excuse me while I take a short sip of water. Manual penalty, and then, you know, your site is your baby, and it's beautiful and wonderful and really the best site in the world, but it's promoting some kind of product, and Google hates people promoting product because they take space on the first page where Google thinks that it's more useful to use that space for informational sites. And if you get the attention, you're likely to get some kind of penalty, no matter that you think that your website is wonderful and you did everything right. You're still going to get the penalty. Did that happen to you, Willie?
It hasn't happened to me recently, but I have been penalized before by Google. And I mentioned earlier the people who did all the AdSense sites back in the day. A lot of those people built what they consider disposable sites. They knew they were going to be penalized, and they didn't care. They just
Yeah. Well, that's a different topic. So
yeah.
those people plan for obsolescence within days. I mean, the people who are going after keywords that are very, very lucrative, like Viagra and personal injury attorney and all those, they don't care whether website number 17 gets penalized today. We don't care. We're just going to rank 700 or 1,000 websites in a little train that they're running. And you know, when the website number 17 goes down in the ranking, well, that's no problem. Website number 18 or 21 or whoever will rank in its place. So they keep getting traffic.
Right.
And that's the ultimate that's the conclusion taken to the limit here, that every website is disposable and we don't care. But you do build websites that you want to, people that are on the call, they would like their website to last longer than a couple of days, I'm sure, because it takes a lot of work to rank. But if a website ranks for 3-4 months or even a year, you know, you shouldn't count on it ranking forever. It will get penalized. It will get put down in the ranking, even if for just being not updated as frequently as you used to do it. Some other guy makes a newer website, some other guy makes a video, and so on. And we'll talk about all of those things in a few minutes. Okay, one second. So what can you do? Well, I'm going to show you 3 secrets. The first one is the most important, really, because it's the basis for the other 2 that I'm going to show you. And it is that you don't have to rank on Google just with the website. There are 10 or more different ways that you can rank on the first page. And just knowing this will mean that you can attack even impossible keywords. Why? Because there are 10 places on the first page. If you create compelling content with a good positioning in terms of SEO in one of these other ways, and your content is fresher and valued more than the other guy's content, you have a chance of displacing someone even if they're on page 1. Not only that, if you just look at the search engine results page after this training, you'll be able to see the opportunities because you know exactly which of the 10 ways to use to get on the first page. And not only that for keywords, but it will allow you to create a comprehensive strategy for attacking an entire niche. So, you know that for keyword 1, way number 7 is the right way, and then you can put a link in there to another piece of content that will be using another way to rank on page 1 for that keyword, and so on and so forth. So you don't need to, you will be able to use this insight to really rank very well for many, many keywords in the niche and potentially dominate it. So what are some of those ways? Here are 10 ways that I know of, and that I will demonstrate some of them in the next few pages. Okay? So there are images, videos, news, social shopping, blogs, discussions, local and maps, authority websites, and notice I mentioned the 10th is your own website. You don't have to rank your website on the first page to get traffic. In fact, I wasn't ranked on the first page, and I had some unique images on my own website, and I couldn't figure out why I was getting so much Google traffic. Well, it turned out that all of the Google traffic was from images that were ranking for different keywords. Another example is if your website is mentioned in a discussion site or a forum, or if it's mentioned a lot on social and so on. Okay, so you don't have to limit yourself to ranking your own website. Your own website is your brochure, and it's where you do your sales, but it doesn't have to be on page 1 to get traffic from Google. That's an important point that I want to drill into your head. And if you, in fact, it's very paradoxical, but I have been telling customers that if they're not on page 1, their position is stronger. Why? Because obviously they're missing out on some traffic today, but they're not going to get penalized, and they're not going to lose any traffic if there are a lot of changes, because images are always going to rank on page 1. Videos are most of the time going to rank on page 1. If they're giving out new press releases, they're going to rank that new press release on page 1, and so on and so forth. Any questions still here?
I'm not seeing any new questions.
Okay, good. So here's an example. Yeah, go ahead.
I said it's a quiet group.
Yeah, it seems like a quiet group, so maybe we should give away some more stuff. Okay, so if here's an example of this, what I call Google SERP boxes. And again, SERP stands for Search Engine Ranking Pages. It's a term that SEOs are familiar with, but you may not be, so I wanted to explain that. So in this page you can see 3 boxes. First of all, you see the map box, and within the map you see 7 or 8 pins of mentions in the local 7 box. That's the local box. And I didn't show the local box for this search dog training. And notice another thing. I was connected through a machine that is in San Francisco, so I got the San Francisco local dog training people that are ranking, and I also got the national dog training ranking. This is an authority site in the niche. Caesar's Way is the website from the so-called Dog Whisperer. And then there are discussions of 2 dog training commercial establishments here in the lower box. Another example, new movies. So this is a news box where they rank new movies, and you can watch the trailers. The trailers are links to Apple's trailer sites. And then there are 2 sales sites that sell the tickets for the new movies and new DVDs. And then lastly, there is an authority site here, IMDb, which which doesn't sell anything. I'm sorry. It's just lists the new movies in theater. It's a well-established page with high page rank and so on. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention page rank until now because, well, we'll discuss that. Okay, another one is a search airplane crashes. We have an authority site where we have a list of, we have a description of what happens in case there is an air incident or accident, and a list of recent incidents and accidents, and then news, and then images. Okay, the last one I'm going to show is one of my recent launches for on WSO. So here we have the authority site for that niche, then YouTube videos, then a discussion and review site, and finally another video. So 2 video boxes and a review and authority site, and so on. I mean, this happens all the time. Every time you see you see a search engine result page, you should look at it with an eye towards classifying the content on the page and deciding, okay, which boxes occur, and can I maybe create a box with my type of content that will rank high and will appear on the first page simply because it's not currently represented. This type of content is not represented in the page. Secondly, of course, you should repurpose your content. You should do that anyway. I think Willie was one of the first ones teaching how to repurpose content, like, for example, take a video and make an MP3 from it, make a transcript, make an article from the video, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
You should, yeah. And
we did get one question, though. MJ asked, in your opinion, what can be done to rank in the local maps and the top 7? He's asking about local maps.
Yeah, so, well, I'm not a local expert, and I will not answer this in a detailed way, although a lot of my clients do use videos to rank for local searches. So, for example, in the dog training, I'm sorry, okay, I must have not included the page.
You went right past the dog training. Oh, okay.
No, not the dog training. I had a local, okay, I have an example of a search here. Let me go to, and exit from the full screen. Okay, so for example, this is an example. My video is ranking for a West Palm Beach DUI attorney. And this attorney, okay, so for this one, they don't have a map. Fine, but I will go back to the presentation in just 1 second. So, how to get into the 7 boxes, what they're asking. So there are a set of sites that you have to get links from, like Yelp and other local directories. And if you get a link from them and a lot of reviews, then you are more likely to appear in the local search so-called 7 box, which lists the top 7 websites that are in that market. But other than that, there are other things like there's things that you need to do on the website, and I've seen a lot of different courses recommending teaching how to do that. I didn't really pay attention to that because I'm not in the local market per se. I'm in SEO in general. But Willie, do you want to recommend a specific product here?
Not a specific product, but I use YouTube videos a lot to rank local.
Yeah, I use YouTube videos. My clients use a lot of YouTube videos, and they seem to rank very well. But I think the question was specifically how to get into the 7 box. And I personally, I can't say I know this. I could make something up, but I don't want to do that, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Can you take the name of the person, and I will get back to them with a recommendation for the
I'll do that.
Best product for this kind of issue, because I don't want to say myself what to do. You know what to do, because I wouldn't feel on safe ground to do that. And that's been a hallmark of what I do. I don't give advice that comes out of my hat. I only give advice that I have actually implemented myself and that I know for sure works. And and always include the caveat that it works now and we don't know if it will work tomorrow. That's just life.
I come from a military background where I was told to never make up answers because people are making decisions based on those answers, and so that's just
exactly wrong. Right, and lives depend on it. Well, in SEO, livelihoods depend on it, and I don't want to be responsible for a disaster in terms of like your site disappearing completely from the ranking and so on. I just don't want to do that. Okay, so we were here. So use your content in multiple manners, right? And then use the same content. You can use it off-site as well. So you can quote snippets of your content in a discussion place, like a forum, and you can then backlink to your website. You can, these are local citations, are where people put quotes from your description of the facility, like a restaurant, so they can quote the menu, or they can quote your description, like etc. And this one is a little bit more sophisticated. It's cross-promoting different types of content from one piece of content to the other. So for example, if you rank well for one keyword with a video, then in the description of the video you can include a link to a page, to a press release that is optimized for a second keyword, or a page on your website that's optimized for a second keyword. And this is part of what I meant by planning a complete attack plan for the entire niche. You know, because you know that the press release will rank for keyword 2 because there's no news box on the keyword ranking, right? So you can rank that. Okay. Okay, yeah. Secret number 2, the search engine structure. As I mentioned before, I have a background in search engine implementation. And search engine, like this is, Willie will at least appreciate this, that like everything in the military, search engines are made up of 3 parts.
Right.
I'm a military person as well. Everything is made of 3 parts. You know, not more than 3 parts. Anyway, so there's a crawler. We'll talk about what they do. They're a crawler, indexer, and analyzer. So the crawler just basically visits every page in the web. It's made up of thousands, literally thousands of machines that are running a program called a crawler. And what it does is it retrieves the web pages and discovers the links. So the links that are discovered, some are discarded, some are discarded, and some are fed back right into the crawler, so to go visit other pages. Then the content that the crawler retrieves and the links that it discovers are sent to something called the indexer. The indexer makes a decision whether to include that content and the link that was crawled in the index. Basically, it makes an initial judgment on the value of the page, whether it's spammy, whether it has useful information, whether it links out to non-bad neighborhoods, and so on and so forth. If the decisions are thumbs up, then it sends the content to the analyzer. The analyzer goes over the content word by word and says, oh, the word dog occurs in this page. Let me put that in the list of pages that have the word dog in it. And so when somebody searches for the word dog, then your page will have a chance of appearing in the search engine. And again, some pages may still get discarded here because they are, in secondary analysis, they're not as useful as the indexer thought they would be. And as a general rule, 100 links come in. Maybe one of those 100 makes it to the indexer. And then out of 100 pieces of content and link coming into the indexer, maybe 5 or 1 makes it to the analyzer. And out of that, maybe 10 will make it to the database that is created in the backend. There's all of this process, this pipeline, happens all the time, and it happens not just when you're asking a question. In fact, none of this happens when you're typing in a question to Google. Instead, all of this happens way before, and the information is recorded in a database that is used by the front end, which we'll see in the next slide. So you want to be you want to own the content that makes it from the crawler to the indexer, to the analyzer, and to the database. Why is there this steep slope of discarding? Why do most things get discarded in each step? Well, the web is on the order of, I think it's approaching 100 trillion links right now, and about a trillion pages. So it's 990 billion pages or so, of which Google crawls maybe 250 billion. And all of this takes a humongous amount of space, and the text of these pages and the images and the videos and all of that good stuff takes an enormous amount of space. So Google has strict limits on what it includes in the database. And can only include so much and no more. Yeah, go ahead.
We did get a question from MJ asking if he or she puts a few links on your Google Plus account, do you increase your chances of getting indexed?
Yes. Okay, so first of all, it vastly increases your chances of getting crawled, right? You want to get crawled because only a small portion of the entire web ever gets visited by Google, maybe 10%. Then of these only maybe less than 1% of that gets indexed. And of the things that get indexed, less than 1% gets shown to users in the database. Okay? And then of the database, stuff that's in the database, less than 2% of that gets retrieved by any query before the database is refreshed. So really, I mean, the chances of your page showing up in any search at all are minuscule, are the tiny fraction of a percent that you can imagine. Okay, it's very, very it's an occasion to celebrate that your page actually showed up or in a search engine result. Okay, and
So it
this is
sounds like you want to have a lot of different types of content out there.
yeah, exactly. You want to have the content has to be multi-faceted, multi-typed, and you want to have fresh content and always new links coming in, and all of that stuff has to work like a machine to make Google value your content higher than all of the other pages uh, that are competing for the 10 coveted positions in the page, right? I mean, there's only 10 competitors, really. There's only 10 chances for you to be seen.
On page one, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
most
So
searches don't go beyond page one, do they?
most searches never goes beyond page one. Okay, so what's happening in the front end is that that database that was created by the backend process gets used by fourth component. So I lied, so sue me. There are actually 4 components that you type in a query that gets sent to the page composer, this thing that produces the page that you see. And it asks the database for the top 10 results that might be useful to show. And these results come back, and then it composes the page. So now there are databases for news sites, there are databases for images, there are databases for videos, and all of this comes back. In general, the SERP composer retrieves about 100,000 results in order to give you the 10 top results, okay? It retrieves 100,000 different results that match your search query and only shows you the 10 top results. So again, there is this filtering going on of about 1 to 10,000, right?
Wow. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So it's really, you know, you really, I mean, the competition is incredible, and you really have to know what you're doing if you want to show up in the top 10. Okay, so I like to compare search engines to baby food, and the reason is that, okay, search engines look incredibly smart. They retrieve these top 10 results in no time flat, usually less than 200 milliseconds, which is the time that it takes you to bat an eyelash. They come back with a page. And so how do they do this? Well, like baby food, their results are pre-digested, 99.99, however many nines you want to put there. And both of them act fast. The baby food gives the baby calories really fast, and the search engine gives the results really fast. And the reason is that most of the baby food is broken down into easily digestible stuff before the baby ever eats it, and same for the search engine. Everything is done before. Google already knows where the words occur, like where the word dog and training occur, and which pages have both of them in the same line, and so on and so forth. Okay? So now how do we exploit this? So first of all, Google has a limit on how many URLs it will crawl from any site. So you want to put your link on new sites all the time. You want to use unusual sources, like maybe actually this will sound very contradictory to what people have been taught, but a new link from a Swedish site that never linked to your site will cause Google to crawl your site. Why? Because this is an unusual signal for Google, okay? And this will cause your link to bypass the discard from the crawler to the indexer. You always want to tell your search engine about new content, because that will send the crawler to your site. And I've seen with pinging, I've seen web pages crawled within 3-4 seconds now. They really got it down to less than 20 seconds. You want, as I already mentioned, you want to provide different media and fresh content. You want to repurpose content. One thing that most people don't do is convert the HTML to PDF and put it on a PDF site and then link back to your site. That's one way of repurposing your content. And guess what? Google reads PDF. They know how to find your link inside the PDF. Okay?
Okay.
You also want, go ahead.
No, I was saying that's good to know. Can Google also read, can they read audio?
They actually, yes, they actually quote unquote read audio, and they produce, if you go to any video on YouTube, there's usually a transcription of it, which basically they're listening to the spoken word and they're making a guess of what you're saying. And if you have a terrible accent like me, I'm not American by origin, so what can I say? My transcriptions come out terrible, but I guess with somebody with a more American accent, probably their transcriptions will have some resemblance to what was said. I'm being polite here. Sometimes it's very, very bad, but they usually get, at least they get the gist of what is being said.
Okay.
And they get keywords. They get the content of. They get the main content. They get also much more than that. They get a mood indication. Like if the guy or the woman that's talking are excited, then that's probably a sales video. If they're just droning on, then it's probably a presentation, and so on and so forth. I mean, Google Labs has in the works a lot of those things. And the most important thing for exploiting is the last point: align the relevance factors. Basically align the keywords on the source page, the link. There's text on the link that is the anchor text, so to speak, and keywords on the target page. If you get all of those aligned well, then your relevance will be a lot higher. There's a lot of misinformation about how important it is for the entire site from which the link comes, the source site, to be relevant to the target page. I have seen very strong correlations between the source page being relevant and good ranking. I have not seen that strong correspondence between the relevance from the entire site. And if you think about it, it's kind of hard for one site to be relevant for many, many different things. Like, why does Yelp rank? Well, even though they review restaurants and dry cleaners and shoe sales shops and all this other stuff, because they have authority. It's not because of the relevance that they rank well. It's because of their authority that they rank well. The relevance is important on the page.
Okay, we got a question from Stephanie asking, yeah, what service do you recommend for pinging?
I don't recommend any specific service, and I have used free services that you can Google. Just use the keyword free ping services. And there's also in every WordPress site contains a list of free sites that WordPress will ping. Those are a good starting point.
Yeah, I have about 50 different places that my blogs automatically ping.
Yeah. And every install of WordPress comes with a list of good places to ping. And you just Google, and there's many lists of different quality. That's all I'm going to say about it.
Okay, and
it's really not important to ping 1,000 sites. I mean, if you ping those top 100 or top 50, like Willie said, that's good enough. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah, and we got a question from Spencer who asked, does all the content on the source page need to be relevant? Because he says a lot of his blog posts that show up on his homepage cover, various topics. Is that hurting him?
No. I mentioned page relevance, but that's a kind of a compromise that I made in my mind. Really, I know there is very, very, very strong relevance alignment necessary for the paragraph that the link appears in, or very near to. And there's much as the distance between the link and the text grows, there is much less relevance requirement, so to speak. So it's perfectly okay to have different topics on your homepage. In fact, if you look at things like Huffington Post or an SEO blog like SEOroundtable.com, they're going to have many different topics on the homepage all the time, and it doesn't hurt them, so why should it hurt you? The content by itself will not always rank. This is the third secret. It doesn't matter what you do. If you write beautiful content and don't tell Google about it, Google may not find it, and Google doesn't really know, besides the wonderful prose that you put on your page, if they find it, if they happen to find it, which is a 1 in 1,000 chance based on the web size, right? The size of the entire web is 1,000 times larger than what they crawl. So if they happen to find it, it will still not always rank because they don't know how valuable the content is. As I mentioned, the content relevance is determined by the keywords in the text and the alignment between the text, the links, and the keywords on the source page or in the source paragraph. The content value is determined by different things like incoming links and links that go out from your page to other pages in the same niche. Again, the relevance doesn't have to be page-wide. You can link on your page to a site that is not relevant to the thing. For example, as an example, I often link to a YouTube video that makes a pun on some of the keywords, and it doesn't always, it's not relevant for those keywords. It's just a joke video, I try to be funny on my postings, so it's not always completely aligned, and frankly I don't worry about the entire page being relevant with outgoing links. Another important thing that I mentioned that is social signals, like how many occurrences of your link are on Facebook and Twitter. Although Facebook carries more value these days, and together the relevance plus value make up the quality score of the page. So then once you have the quality score of the top 10 quality scores will be the ones that rank on Google on the first page. And then they do another algorithm which will not always pick the top 10 quality pages from any one so-called vertical. So not always, they won't just show 10 personal sites. They'll also show images, they'll show news articles, they'll show stuff like that.
Okay, another question we got is, do you think that using...
we're going over time, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
We're getting a question about using the default WordPress theme. What do you think about doing that?
Oh, there's a lot of debate about that. I'm just going to say what people have told me. I have ranked perfectly fine websites with the default theme, and some people say that just putting the default theme on it means that the website is kind of fly by night, and you should put a more professional theme on it. I do know that putting the default theme on the website will reduce the stay time, will reduce the time that the visitor is on your site.
Okay.
Because they're not as engaged as with some of the wonderful themes that, you know, they're singing and dancing themes that will change the page while you're on it and so on, right?
Right.
Those things will increase your stay time, and stay time is more important nowadays than it was ever. So that's a strong social signal. That's in the category of social signals
okay.
that Google is measuring. You know, how long do people stay on it? Do they leave comments? Things like that. Okay, so a recent WSO ranked a spam website with just links. The person took articles from a spam site, total duplicate content and terribly spammy content, and they ranked them with, not 2 years ago, I mean, I'm talking a month ago, they ranked them on page 1 for those keywords, right? And I apologize for this typo, this is supposed to be an E. So pages without content and only links to them still rank. And it's amazing that even after all of these updates, things like that can still happen. And as I mentioned, the quality, which is what determines whether your page is one of the lucky 10, is what appears on the page, the source code of your page, basically, if it's well structured, if it has all the right optimizations and so on, the relevance of the page, and the value that is attached to the page. Those 3 factors determine whether your page will occur. Then they don't show only pages in blogs. They will show, let's say, 4 pages in blogs. So then even your chances are further reduced because you have to be in the top 10 of blogs. And if you don't have a piece of content in videos, then you're not going to show up, perhaps, if you're not in the top 4 of blogs. Do I make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it's highly competitive, and diversifying your content is extremely important. Okay, so I'll briefly go over this, and then we'll talk about how I do things, and we'll get to the thing that get to the giveaway. Okay, so I'm always building backlinks to my properties. Always. I never stop. And I build very, very slowly. I don't blast them with 1,000 links. And this is this paradoxical that less is much, much more than more. And the reason is that if you do blast your website, which yesterday had only, let's say, 100 backlinks, and now it has 100,000 backlinks all in one day, that's certainly going to be at least causing an automatic review of your website, and if that automatic review flags your website for some suspicious activity, then you're going to get the dreaded manual review and you're going to be deranked. You need to build naturally, and that's more defined by what not to do than what yes to do, because it's very hard to know exactly what Google considers natural, except, you know, natural is them saying don't do anything yourself. Let the web grow, not grow by itself. And that, frankly, that is a recipe for not showing up in the four blog results or 2 news results or the 1 video that they're going to show. I don't leave it to chance. I'm sorry to say, I don't leave it to chance. Okay. Also, in terms of the links, this is the first mention of PR PageRank. PageRank is one of the measures of that Google assigns to, it's a computed measure that assigns an importance to a website. It's actually per page, and these are two more modern measures, domain authority and page authority, that were invented by Moz.com. Anyway, the point is that the higher any of these three, and the higher that any of these three, the fewer of those links you want to get. So this axis is the number of the higher authority, and this is the number of links of that kind that you want to get. So low authority or low PR links, you can get hundreds or thousands, but if you get 10,000 high PR links, then you're definitely going to get flagged again. Something to keep in mind.
So it appears unnatural for you to have a lot of high PR links pointing to your site.
Absolutely, and you have to have a good mix of do follow and no follow. Not all do follow, not all no follow. You know, having only do follow links, which do follow is an experimental disaster that Google did. It was quickly abused to such a degree by search engine optimizers that it lost all meaning. But basically, it's a flag on a link that tells Google not to use this link for computing the value of a website. And again, the value is in the strict meaning of the value that I used a couple of slides back. Okay?
Okay.
Really, this is the biggest secret of them all, is that anything you do to rank is black hat. Anything. Google tells you Matt Cutts, who is, by the way, a neighbor of mine. He lives down the street from me in Los Altos in California. We're actually good friends. We sometimes walk our dogs together. He more or less knows what I'm doing, but he doesn't really care. He says, just produce quote-unquote awesome content and we'll rank it for you. And that's a piece of malarkey if I ever heard one, because that just reduces your chances to ever show up to virtually zero if you don't do anything. And on the other hand, nothing you do is safe. There are only shades of unsafe. Some things are less unsafe than others. And you need to get used to being slapped. There's no escaping the eventual slap. Even good players like eBay got slapped a couple of times already, as you saw. Okay, so the conclusion is to build a strong site, and I'll show in the next slides. Those are the last slides that I'm going to show, I promise. What is a strong site? The purpose is to build your business. It's not to build those sites and not to rank in Google. You know, you want to get traffic for a purpose. You want to sell stuff, or you want to build that list, or you want to build that audience. You don't want, sites are not the end-all be-all, so they're just tools. They're not assets, okay? And of course, a brand site is an asset, but that's special. And for local marketers, that different rules apply. But in the general case, if you're building an affiliate site and it gets slapped, just build another one and stop crying into your milk. You know, get used to the case. So what I do, I build outside in. Most people tell you when you want to build a site, when you want to attack a niche, you just find a product, you build a site, and then you build backlinks to it, and you rank. Well, that's putting the cart before the horse, because perhaps you will never rank, you will never sell anything, you will never gain anything from that, you will never add anyone to your list, and you just wasted a ton of effort. What I do is I test by creating some Web 2.0 properties or videos or blog posts on public blogs, whether I can rank. If those if those things rank, then I know my new website will be able to rank as well. And I have a very good idea already what keywords I will rank for. I can, during doing the keyword research, I will notice which sites rank for which keywords, and if there are discussion sites where I can get the traffic from, discussion sites, social sites, review sites, whatever. I will know what products I can promote, and I usually promote the products directly on the Web 2.0 places, so I will also test whether I can make sales before I invest a single dollar into creating even one page on my own site. And the result is that I will have a selection of 10 or more properties in the niche, some of which will rank, and those properties will serve me as my base for when if I decide eventually to rank a website in that niche. So once that works, then I build a niche, build the site after I test the niche. And I already know what pages to put on the website because I know I can rank in the dog grooming for poodles sub-niche if I have a dog grooming website. I know where the traffic is coming from, so all I have to do is to put a link from those properties to my site. I know what sells because I made sales. I know the keywords. I know which Google SERP boxes to aim for. Like, do I need to make press releases about my site? Do I need to make videos and put them on my site, and so on and so forth? The result is that I didn't spend effort for no results. I got a strong site that is attacking the keywords that are possible for me to rank for immediately. I know that I will rank on those pages and I will make sales because I know that, traffic plus offer is sales. So I'll either make sales on the Web 2.0 page or the other properties, or I'll make sales on my website. And I'll take any sale that I can get. I don't care whether it comes from my website or from these other properties. And I'm planning on being slapped. I build multiple properties. I usually have multiple money sites in any niche. If something gets slapped, I'm just redirecting links and I'll rank the other site on the page 1 really quickly. And I always keep building. I always keep adding content to the site, either through automatic means like RSS feeds that will keep the site fresh, or original articles. And this is the thing that everyone really knows, that once you get to expert status in your niche, people will want to guest blog on your site and want to send you content with a link to their site. Guess what? Linking to their site, if it's a good site, it'll strengthen your site because you're better connected to the niche. Google knows, Google is built on algorithms that figure out who is the authority in the niche. And the more you link to other people in your niche, the more you appear as the authority. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. And in terms of backlinks, I build backlinks to the property, a lot of low-quality backlinks to these properties, so I can send thousands of links to these YouTube videos or Web 2.0 or blogger.com websites. I build low-quality, this is written wrong, I build low-quality links to my pages on the website, not only to the home page, and I build a small number and slowly backlinks to the money site and to my properties. And I offer the high quality backlinks as a service to clients. And that I've been doing that since January 2010, and the service is still going strong. Yes, people have gotten slapped, and that's, as I said, that's just a fact of the practice. That's how that happens. And the result is that if you never stop building, if you never stop adding content, your position grows much stronger, quick, and very, very quickly. I mean, you're able to establish a foothold in a niche in less than a month and an authority site in the niche in less than 3 to 4 months. Okay, so let's look at some things that I've ranked with my backlinks. Okay, any questions here?
No new questions.
Okay, so this video on page 1 for the term DUI lawyer West Palm Beach. First of all, look at this page. There's more than 7 or 8 ads. There's probably 20 or 30 people that are competing for your click on this page. So this is a very high money keyword. And there are 2 videos. One of them is my client's. The other one is a competitor. And I forgot to make backlinks to this video, so it was ranking on page 3 just a couple of weeks ago, and it's now back on page 1. And so yeah, so it's back. And as you notice, the customer's website is not on page 1, but he sure is getting clicks from this video, and he's happy with my work. So this is a great example of ranking another property on page 1. Okay, the other one I wanted to show is dog training in Brisbane, California. Initially I forgot that Brisbane is a big city in Australia, so I was getting rankings in Brisbane, Australia with my dog training people. In this case I have the Yelp review here on top at K9 Comrades, and I have their Facebook page on page 1. They're not in the map box, but they're under the map box with their own site. So they have 3 opportunities on page 1 to get a click. And they're pretty happy with what I'm doing. This is one of those pages that is a disaster, actually, because I mean, I'm not really a disaster, but the client is not happy and they're not understanding. What's going on here is that this is a local guy that owns a cleaning business in New Orleans. So all of the page, the entire page after Panda 4.0 is taken by reviews, really, all of the page, and they're no longer on page 1. So I'm about to lose this client, even though their Google Plus page is on page 1 here. This is a case of social ranking, by the way. This is the social box. So if you create a Facebook page or a Google Plus page, you have a chance to rank in the social box on page 1. Unless you think that I'm only good for ranking local keywords, this is CT scanning service, which is a very, very hard keyword. There's a lot of money being spent on ranking. And I have the customer here ranking in 1, 2, 3, 4, position 5. It changes from day to day. Sometimes they're local, sometimes they're number 5, sometimes they're number 7, but they're getting clicks, which is the most important thing. And as I said, I offer this service to clients. Okay, let's see. I go back into presentation mode. Willie, are you there? Do we
Yes,
get
I'm
questions?
Here. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm not seeing...
Okay, I'll copy this and put it in the chat box. Can you copy it for everyone to see? Okay?
Yes.
The link? Okay. Okay, so I put the link in there, and this is it's my offer to you to get some of these backlinks. Again, as I said, those backlinks have consistently ranked sites since 2010, through all the ups and downs, through all the weather storms that Google has unleashed, through all the menagerie of animals that Google has unleashed on SEOs. These backlinks rank when combined with other strategies on page and off page. And we do all the work. We just take 5 keywords per link that you provide. You tell us which links to build backlinks to which pages on your website, or perhaps you want us to build backlinks to your Web 2.0 properties or your videos. We do all the work. We send a weekly report with the properties that we created with your backlinks. It's really very affordable. It's just $37 for the first month and then $67 for each month. You can cancel anytime. And we stopped building backlinks immediately because, well, we used to build the backlinks until the paid for period ran out, but most clients want us to stop right away. If they get a penalty, they don't want new links to come in while they try to sort out what's happening. So we stop right away unless the client tells us to finish the time that they paid for. You can try it for 50% off. We use only PageRank 5+ websites. The reason I still use PageRank as an indicator is because Google still updates it, and it's still a good measure of whether a link from that site is going to be important or not. That's the only reason I'm using these super high PageRank sites. You'll get 100 to 120 backlinks, a good mix of do follow and no follow, a good mix of various platforms, a good mix of different strategies for backlinks. You get some international backlinks, multilingual backlinks. You get a very large geographic distribution and something called IP distribution. It doesn't really matter to you if you're just trying to rank your site, but it's important for Google. Like, you don't want all the links to come only from 3 or 4 sites. You want many sites to tell Google that this site is important. And I've got a gift for you. This URL is the list of my top 20 sites for backlinks. And these are the kind of sites that we build backlinks to your site every week. These are the sites that I, of course, not always the same sites. Every week we use a different set of 20 sites. But your site is going to get backlinks from these 20 sites and from a new 20 site list every week. They're going to be of the same quality as the sites in this list. Willie, I'm going to copy this into the chat box.
Okay.
Just a second. Okay. And are there any questions? Any question at all about SEO? I'm really happy to try and answer your questions.
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is that the process of building the backlinks it is pretty time consuming, and I believe that you.
Yeah, have you done it lately?
No, well, I do, but I use I outsource it.
Yeah, and people do several different things. People outsource, like Willie has his own virtual assistants or VAs that probably build backlinks of the same quality that I'm offering here, and they're probably working pretty well for you, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, the reason they work pretty well is because they're not abused. You're using. I remember at one time you were actually a customer of my packets. I don't sell the packets anymore because I got hammered by black hats sharing those packets, and then the value of each of these websites went down the drain, and that's a problem with those packets. And they work very well because we use them very, very sparingly, very carefully. If I guarantee you that the number of people getting backlinks from any one of those sites that we use each week is very, very low. So not like 10,000 backlinks from bit.ly.com or I don't know, I mean WordPress.com, all of a sudden going to a bunch of new sites. Okay. Instead, you may get very, very few, like tens or 100s. I have 100 clients in my service now. I probably will cap it at 150. In fact, I'm offering really only 50 positions in the service, and if you are on this website, on this presentation, they're selling, so you better get it. I am serious. If I run out of those 50, I'm not going to accept more because I have to train the VAs first. I have to train my virtual assistants to do all the work, and that takes time. I won't take your money and then train them. I have them ready to go. When you pay, your service starts within the same day.
Okay, so right? I'm sharing that link again so that they can go over and check that out. We are getting some new questions coming in too, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, one person asked, don't know if it was covered, but is there a benefit to having Twitter feeds, either theirs or others, on their website or blog?
Okay, let me answer that in 2 steps. Okay, so first of all, links from Twitter are very important. So they're one of the 2 most important social signals. The other one is Facebook. You can get feeds from Facebook or feeds from Twitter, by the way. You can get a feed from Facebook. There are several different ways. Not going to show that here. And I didn't cover this in my presentation, so the person who asked this did not miss anything. Putting the feed on your website is a good way to get outgoing links to the most fresh content in your niche. Of course, you're risking helping another person sell stuff, right? Because Twitter is being abused heavily by spammers. People who will put their link out on Twitter hundreds of thousands of times with automated software, and that link will appear in feed, and then you're linking to their website 100,000 times. So it's not always a good thing. However, if you have a way of maybe filtering the feed, maybe reviewing the feed before you make it go live, that's one way. But of course, then you lose the advantage of having automatically updated content on your website. I have never done it for either my own websites or my clients. I don't recommend it because you don't have good control over the content. I do use Google Alerts and Google Feeds because they will only put in the feed things that they think are relevant and that they think are valuable to have. So having those links on your website is actually it's it's a question whether the machine has an ego or not, but certainly if you align yourself with the links that Google thinks are important, you do appear more of an authority in the niche. Okay? So, for example, if you have links to the same websites that are in the top 10, then you're likely to appear more an authority in the niche than if you have links to only to some other websites that don't appear in the ranking. I hope I'm making sense. I hope I'm explaining this
Yes,
well.
that makes sense. You're saying if you link to the sites that Google thinks is important, then Google gives you credit for that.
Yeah, it gives you extra props, so to speak. Yeah, it gives you extra credit for that because you're obviously promoting the same content. You're a positive part of the niche, so to speak. Okay, again, in context, mentions of the links are more valuable than mentioning them in a feed because it's less, it's more automated. Those links are more automated and thus involve less of your work to mention them, right? Google knows that the area of your web page that has the feed on it is actually from a feed. They can, most of the time they can tell, because it updates frequently, whereas the rest of the page doesn't update frequently, so they can, assume that it's a feed. I hope I'm making sense there.
You are. You are.
Yeah.
And we've got several other questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
One person asked, what do you think of high page rank sites and expired domains?
I'm sorry, you're cutting off. You're cutting off, Willie. Can you repeat the question?
Okay. He asked, what do you think of high page rank expired or aged domains from GoDaddy auctions?
Buyer beware. It's extremely easy to fake high page rank, first of all.
Yes, it is.
And even I got taken, and I bought domains that I didn't do all my homework, and I'm no more. Let's just leave it at I know more than the rest of them about all the tricks of the trade. I know exactly what spammers do as part of my work in search engines. I know I was on the spam review committee at Yahoo, so I mean I know what they do. I know how PageRank works. I know how PageRank works. I know how to fake it. It's really easy, as I mentioned. There are ways to avoid being taken, and it's worth doing an hour or 2 hours of work for a domain that looks very valuable. If you find a domain that is clean, that has a clean link profile, that has good page rank, has good authority, has a lot of pages indexed in Google while it's being sold. So, it didn't just have PageRank a year ago. It has PageRank now. It is actually indexed with the content. It was never used in certain spammy ways. You can check that. There's courses that teach you everything on how to do that. It's way too much to explain here. But
okay.
If you can find such a domain, you could, depending on the PageRank level, you should evaluate seriously whether you want to get that, because it's going to be a valuable addition to your stable of properties, especially if you think that the backlinks that are already in place will survive the transition to your ownership. It's a market fraught with risk, but if you can find the diamonds in the rough, you're gonna do well.
Okay. The next question we have is, how do you rank a site in a highly technical niche where the only other sites on the topic are from your competitors?
Well, okay, so I think I know the answer to that. It's you need to attack a different vertical. So all of the top 10 sites are ranking pages on their sites, right? That's so there isn't. It's very surprising for me to find such a SERP nowadays. But let's say I'll take it from the question asked.
He said highly technical.
Yeah, he said highly technical. So perhaps there are no videos, there are no press releases, perhaps there are no other sites in the niche that review the sites and so on. But I mean, you could. I've already given pretty lot of hints here, right? I mean, you could make a video about this technical thing, and yes, this is a highly technical niche, and you're not going to get 100,000 views to your video because probably being a highly technical niche, it doesn't have a lot of traffic, but it's probably very high value traffic. Each click is valued very, very highly. It's potentially converting to a big sale.
A follow-on question to from the same person is, where would you go to get backlinks in this case too?
Oh, I see. Okay, got it. Okay, so so first of all, I wouldn't. I would look at the competitors. I have no shame in looking at the competitors. Where are they getting their backlinks from? And if they are getting their backlinks from forums, if they're getting their backlinks from blog posts, guest posts, if they're getting their backlinks from videos, if they're getting their backlinks from high page rank sites, I'll go do the same thing. Depends on the niche. But the first avenue of attack is to do something different. If they zig, you want to zag. If they only have pages, you want to have a video on the page. If they only have spec documents on the site, you want to have a review of the different products in the site. Something like that. Okay? So where do I go to? Just to answer the question again, so the high PR sites are by nature not going to be specific to the niche. Otherwise, they would be ranking in that niche already, right? If the high PR sites are definitely going to be high authority, if they're in that super high technical niche, they'll be on page 1. So it's going to be extremely hard to get. The fact is that there are likely not to be many high page rank, high authority sites in the niche or relevant to that niche from which you can get backlinks. So yes, you can get backlinks from high page rank sites in general, but they're not going to be relevant. So you need to create your own relevance. How? By creating pages on these so-called host site or piggyback sites, if you want, with content that is relevant to your site. And then you align the source page. The backlink will have a keyword on it that is carries keywords that are relevant to your page, and the page on the website, on your website where you're linking, they will all be aligned. They don't necessarily have to be the same keyword, but they have to be optimized for the same kind of keyword. I didn't mention something called latent semantic indexing.
Right.
Basically, it's a fancy term for related keyword. It's really not going to be possible to cover all of that here, but it's in the it's in my head, and I'm willing to maybe do another presentation on that, but that's for another time. But
Okay.
basically, they're going to, in fact, if you get links with too many times the same keyword, that's suspicious, so don't do that. Okay, just wanted to get that in. And doing guest posts on other sites in the niche that are about your niche is one way of getting backlinks. Getting a backlink from a directory for the niche is another way to get a backlink. I've heard, and this is something that I've heard people do, getting a link from videos in the niche, even if they're not a video that you put there. You can go to the owner of the video and ask them for a link. If they're not monetizing their link, you pay them some
Yeah, I know people who
amount
do
of
that.
money.
I know people who do that.
Yeah, and it's a legitimate and perfectly good way of getting a good link. And in fact, those links will also carry PageRank. Most pages on YouTube have their own PageRank. They're not PageRank 0. And most pages on Facebook have their own PageRank. Most pages on Blogger have their own PageRank. You know, getting a backlink from there is very valuable because it sends a lot of link juice in addition to being relevant. It's a very high value link in the sense that I described earlier in the presentation. More questions, please.
He has several more. One person asked about the value of SEO hosting, where you get a different IP address for each site. He asked, does that really help?
Don't go to an SEO company. Don't go to an SEO hosting company because Google knows about all of them. And it's like having a target painted on your back saying, "We game Google." What you can do is you can diversify your IPs easily yourself. All you need to do is to have several $4 accounts with HostGator 1&1 or LNL. I don't know what they're called. And I mean, there are a bazillion reputable hosters that will host your website. Yes, it adds up, but you know, just avoiding these SEO farms is a good idea. I don't place my clients' websites on them, and I know
question.
several that have been. I'm sure you know about several of them that have been penalized.
Yes.
Just because they're advertising, we provide you various IPs. We are taking care of your SEO. Google penalizes those companies. Yeah, next
a related question is, does it matter how close the IPs are together? Well, this is talking more about linking sites together too, isn't it, though?
Yeah, no, I think that what they mean is, yeah, where the links are coming from, right? If the links are coming from related sites. It inherently doesn't matter all that much, but if there are other signals that the sites are part of what's called a blog network, then those links will get discounted. They will get discarded by the crawler or the indexer. They will be removed from consideration, and they may even be marked as unnatural links in your Google Webmaster Tools back office. And just by themselves having two links that appear to come from closely related IP address is not a bad thing, but together with other so-called signals that something fishy is going on, they can cause problems. There's no, by the way, search engines are the most the nicest thing to work on as a programmer, because there is no right answer. So anything you do is okay. And similarly, there's no right answer about SEO, because all you're trying to do is to try to get ahead now. What is the right answer today may not be the right answer tomorrow, right?
Right. There's several more questions, and I know we're going close to 2 hours already. But one of us about your offer.
Oh, good.
She asked, is a $37 first month, $67 the second month? Is that for backlinking services for one website or multiple websites?
Okay, so first of all, please go to the link, because it explains in very, very big detail what is included in the offer. Just briefly, we allow you to specify 2 URLs, and for each URL up to 5 keywords. So you get good keyword diversity. You get some links that carry keywords, some links that don't carry keywords. Every week you get up to 40 links, most likely between 30 and 40 links. You can change the keywords and URLs at any time, and as often as you want. You get the report each week mailed to you. You can stop at any time. You can add more services. We call this service, we call this a client slot. This is a historical term that just happened in my service. This is the unit that we sell, two URLs and 5 keywords to each URL. And you can have any number of them. I have a client who actually lives in Texas and wants to move to Florida. He has 24 slots. I have another one that has 12 slots. And just for comparison, the service that I provide, the next competitor that I know of is charging $127 a month for the same service, and they have a 3-month contract. Okay, so hopefully that answered the question.
Yes, it did.
Willie?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Okay. I sort of wish you could see the question pane, because there's a lot of different questions.
Oh yeah! Wow. Okay. I'm happy.
Michelle asked, "Do you still do social bookmarking?"
No.
No. Okay.
I don't do social. I'm sorry. I should qualify that. I don't do Fiverr gigs to social bookmark. I use Bookmark Daemon, but only to my second tier properties, and I don't do bookmarking for the clients as part of this offer. Okay. Bookmarks generally are useful for indexing. They carry very, very little value. Okay, they carry very little meaning to Google. What they do is they will help the website be found. They will not help it rank, or they will not tell Google anything about your site, because Google knows that 99% of all the bookmarks are self-created, so they discount them. But okay, they still bother to go look at the page that is pointed to. They still crawl the page. So they do have some value, but I only use them in case there is a highly resistant page that just doesn't want to get indexed.
Okay. Another question about your service. Abby asked, does she have to ping the links, or is your service pinging them for you?
I'm sorry? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Abby asked, with this service, do I have to ping the links, or is Joe's service?
No, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. We ping the links. We make sure that Google notices those links. So they get crawled very, very high degree. We get crawled about 80 to 85% of the links, which is unheard of.
Yes, it
We're
is.
using a variety of services that cause Google to crawl the links. Um, you're going to have to look at those services to know what they're doing. Some ping, some do some other things that are proprietary. I don't even know what they do, but they cause the links to get crawled. I know that because I look at the log files where Google came from, where the Google bot came from. Then they're always my backlinks, so I know they get crawled. And that's included in the 37 first month, 67, no extra charge. Okay?
I don't see a lot of new questions. You answered a lot of the ones
Yeah,
that people who came late
yeah.
are asking. But one person is
I
asking,
will,
what's the best way to
I
set
will
up a business
be,
with the same name in a city with multiple branches for local SEO?
good question. Okay, so um,
Did you follow that?
same name of the company, but different branches of the of the company in different parts of the same city or different parts of the country?
I'm
Willie?
sorry, Joe, did you follow my question?
Yeah, I think I'm asking whether it's the same city and just different neighborhoods, or the same city and the same
Looks
company
like
and
we may have
different
lost
cities.
our presenter.
Hello? Are you there? Uh,
We can see his mouse moving, but we can't hear him.
oh, wow. Okay.
I'll let him know.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Well, okay. One. Can you hear me now? Willie, can you hear me?
Spencer says he can hear Joe, but not Willie. Huh?
I'm going to reconnect.
Wow. Well, I'm not hearing Joe. Let's see what's wrong here. Okay. I can hear everyone now. Sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, wow. What happened? I'm
Well,
sorry about that. I was going to reconnect.
no,
Okay.
I think I hit a wrong key on my computer.
It might have been me because I noticed that my headset was unplugged, so it could
Oh.
equally well be me.
Uh,
Okay. Anyway,
I'm not seeing
any
any.
more questions?
I'm not seeing any new questions.
Okay, so let's call it a day.
Okay, and so I do encourage you guys to go ahead and sign up. As Joe mentioned, he only has 50 slots available, and the limitations based on the fact that he has to train new VAs before he can take on more customers than that. And so it's
Yeah.
$37 the first month. That's a bargain price, and there's no contract. So you can use it the
Good.
first month and then cancel if you wanted to, and
Yeah.
you'd have all
I
those
don't
new links out
recommend
there.
it.
No, I don't
I
recommend
don't
it either.
recommend that, but
No.
I know that, and the offer is good. If you get a second slot, you get that slot for 37 first month. Okay.
Excellent.
So if you decide to get a slot today and then in a month you decide to add a slot, you'll get that slot for 37
Excellent.
first month. I mean, I'm trying to be fair here, and that's really ultra affordable. I mean, it's unheard of getting links from PR5 sites. People pay. Well, these are not PR5 pages. These are going to be all new pages because we don't spam existing pages. You know, some people say, I'm going to get you links from high PR sites, And then what they mean is they're going to get you, they're going to spam your comment, they're going to spam a comment on some blog page. And, you know, that's defacing people's property. I don't do that. What we do is we create new pages on the sites. We create new profiles, we create new pages, we create new postings, we create new blogs on sites that allow you to create blogs. We don't spam. We're very careful. And we still get, yes, we still get slapped. I mean, you know, if eBay gets slapped, we'll definitely get slapped, because anything you do in SEO is black hat. Anybody that tells you otherwise, they're talking through some other place than their mouth. Okay?
Okay.
You don't want to be talking to those people. Okay, I think we should stop. Or first of all, I want to reiterate. I mean, Willie has been a role model for me for so long, and this is the first time I get the privilege of being on your training, and you guys are the most fortunate internet marketers out there, because you're being trained by Willie. You know, that's a privilege.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay.
And I've learned a lot from you, so I was honored to have you on the webinar.
Wow, I'm floating. I'm no longer sitting in my chair. I'm floating 17 inches above. Okay. Thank you.
So why don't we go ahead and wrap it up? There are a few people asking about the replay. For those people, as soon as the recording is produced, well, it'll be tomorrow. We'll get an email out to you telling you to check it out.
Willie was going out, why don't you just say it out loud? Willie was going out clubbing right after this webinar.
My wife and her friend have already gone out clubbing. So
well, you have to run after them. Maybe you'll catch up with them in the third nightclub. Okay. Thank you, Willie, very much for hosting me. It was a real pleasure. And I hope I answered most of the questions. And feel free to contact me at my email here. You know, this is my email. So use it, contact me, and feel free. You know, I always like to find out what people are doing, what SEO problems they have. That's it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for everyone who came to the presentation. Signing off.
Good night, everyone.
Bye-bye.